Welcome back, guys. This is April month reading wrap up. In the month of April, I read a total of four books, and each of different genre. One was historical fiction, one was contemporary fiction, the other was thriller, and the last one was memoir, part travelogue. So yeah, it was a diverse reading month, and I'm very proud of myself for having completed these books because these are physical books. One can go through ebooks quite quickly, but physical books requires time and patience, and I seem to have executed those. So yeah, I'm proud of myself for reading four books, physical books. So yeah, let's begin. The first book that I read in the month of April was something that I'd carried on from the previous month, and it was Girl, Women, Other by Bernardine Evaristo. So, this book delves into the lives of 12 black British women spanning across decades. Each chapter is dedicated to one character, like one woman, and throughout the book, all of their lives somehow seem connected and intertwined. And at the end of it, the last chapter is a beautiful coming together of all the storylines, of all the characters. Some of the major themes that this book delves into include identity, gender, race, sexuality. Now, talking about my reading experience, I had huge hopes with this book because it is a Booker Prize winner. But somewhere back in my mind, I also had that apprehension that whether the writing style would be my cup of tea or not, or like would it suit my reading preferences or not. So, when I went into the book, the first chapter took my test because the writing style was very distinct, and it took me a few pages into the book to really get a hang of it, but once I got that, I was pretty comfortable reading the rest of the book. Now, as I told before, each chapter is the story of another woman. So all the chapters or all the storylines did not hold my attention, or like I was not hooked to all of them. Some were great, some were phenomenal, but others were like okayish. And for that matter, I think my rating for this book would be 3.5 out of 5. The next book that I read this month was I Bet You'd Look Good in a Coffin by Katie Brent. So it is about a main character, Kitty Collins. Kitty Collins is a serial murderer, and she kills men who have wronged women somehow. However, for the past year, she has stopped committing murders and plans to continue her life peacefully now with her boyfriend. However, there's this one misogynistic influencer who has surfaced on Instagram, and he's spreading toxic stuff against women. And Kitty is somehow unable to resist her murderous rages now, and it's the story about that. Yeah, basically, start. It's a thriller, so I can't tell you much. I read this book for a vlog, so if you want a detailed view of how I thought this book was, you can watch that. However, for now, it's a dark comedy thriller. It touches upon topics like crime against women and female anger and rage. And if you're expecting to read a thriller with many plot twists and turns, this might not be the book for you. But it was definitely worth one time read, not more than that. And it was a 3 out of 5 star read for me. The next book that I read this month was The Boy in the Striped Pajamas by John Boyne. This is a historical fiction around World War II. It follows the life of an 8-year-old Bruno, who's a German kid, and his father is a Nazi officer who's been transferred to a new post near a concentration camp. From the window of his bedroom, Bruno is able to see some people in striped clothes across a fence. And he's very confused as to why all these people are wearing the same clothes or look really ragged and malnutrition. And so curious, he befriends a Jewish boy on the other side of the fence named Shmuel, and that is how the story goes on. I think it was a master move by the author to present the horrors of World War II through a child's perspective, because the child's innocence and the grim, dark reality of the Holocaust, they present such a great contrast that you are forced to think about it from a child's point of view, from the child's lens, and think what irrational thing is going on. I also think that as adults, those who were influenced by Nazi propaganda, they seldom thought about the rational justification of their actions because they were, of course, propaganda does that to you. However, Bruno, a child who has been untouched by that propaganda, sees this as something nonsense or confusing going on, and I guess that was exactly the point of this book. I think the whole point of the book was phenomenal, was great. However, having completed the book, I felt a lack of satisfaction. It could not bring out a very strong reaction from me, and for that reason I think I would give it a 4 out of 5 rating. However, there's also a movie for this book, and I think that movie might help me generate that response. Maybe I was lacking some visual cues or something, but yeah, it was a 4 out of 5 star read, a good read nonetheless. The last book that I read this month was Orienting an Indian in Japan by Pallavi Iyer. This is part memoir, part travelogue, and drawing from her experiences in Tokyo living in Japan, the author writes about socio-economic, political, and cultural intricacies of Japan. And in doing so, she offers a look into Japanese way of life that has often been overlooked by the mainstream media or narrative. And as consumers of social media, I'm assuming most of us have always been in a sort of awe of the Japanese way of life, their traditions, their customs. And now there's this person, the author, who, not just any person, an Indian who has been there, has witnessed this life firsthand, and has written about it so engagingly that I just felt that I traveled the country with her. And the nuances that she captures in a book makes you feel that you know much more than the general lay audience about Japan. And that makes you, feel a little, yeah. And I'm not kidding when I say I haven't had so much fun with a non-fiction. Firstly, I don't pick non-fiction, but this was a book, its cover attracted me to it. And this is a book I picked up from a book fair in Delhi. Reading this book made me realize that my history honors degree wasn't altogether a waste, because in college I had this course on Japanese history wherein I learned many things about Japanese history, its past and everything, shogunate and military dictatorship, everything. However, reading this book, which offers a relatively contemporary view of Japan, makes me feel that I've, bridged the gap from past to present, and now I sort of have a complete sense of the country. I don't think this has to make sense to anyone else other than me, but it's just something that I feel. I think I have a complete, whole, holistic, comprehensive knowledge of the country now, and it's very exciting to feel that way. I 100% recommend this book. It was a 5.5 star read. The writing is so lyrical, beautiful, and it deals with all aspects of life: social, cultural, historical, political, and it's just an amazing read. Guys, do pick this book up. It's like I haven't heard anyone talk about this book, so more people need to read this book. And please tell me, how do you like it, or am I the only one who's gushing about it? So yeah, those are the 4 books that I read in the month of April. I hope that this is the consistency I maintain, and even if I don't, that's not a problem. But 4 books a month seemed pretty awesome to me. So yeah, that's it for the video. Let's meet in another video.